Being ill can make it difficult to be assertive. We may feel dependent on others or fear abandonment. But not being able to stand up for ourselves and our needs has a price in higher symptoms and sometimes relapses. To protect our health, we need to communicate our limits to others in a way so that the limits are understood and accepted. Thus the title of this video, Assertiveness as a Pacing Strategy. I'm going to begin by contrasting assertiveness with two other styles of communication, being passive and being aggressive. After that, we'll look at a CFS assertiveness success story. So first we're going to talk about passive, aggressive, and assertive. First, passive. In the passive style, people are hesitant to speak up for themselves and have difficulty expressing their feelings and opinions. They may feel that it's selfish to ask for what they need, and as a result, they often feel anxious and helpless and resentful because their needs are not being met. They may allow grievances and annoyances to build up, which can lead to explosive outbursts. After the outburst, however, they feel shame, guilt, and confusion, and so they return to being passive. So as a summary here, let me put in under passive, needs not met, resulting in resentment and higher symptoms. Second, people using the aggressive style act in a way that is disrespectful of others and may violate their rights. People who are aggressive often try to dominate and control others using criticism and blame. They use intimidation to get their way. They're unlikely to use a phrase like, let's have a win-win situation. So under aggressive here, let me summarize that as disrespectful and domineering. Then third, we've got the assertive style. And this is one in which a person states her feelings and positions clearly and advocates for her rights and needs while being respectful of others and their rights and needs. People who are assertive create an environment conducive to mutually satisfying solutions. So under assertive, let me summarize that as advocacy, meaning the person is able to advocate for themselves. Respect, meaning deal respectfully with others and seek out a cooperative solution. So let me turn now to a situation in which these communication styles played out. During a recent discussion on assertiveness in one of our groups, a woman who is bedbound with CFS, who I'll call Mary, described a pattern of passivity and said she wanted to use the discussion as an occasion to learn about assertiveness and apply it to one particular relationship in her life. The trigger was a visit Mary had from a friend, named John, that led to Mary's relapse. John stayed for 6 hours, way more than Mary's body could tolerate. But because he had driven an hour to get to Mary's house, she was reluctant to end the visit when her body was crying out for rest. An irony in the situation is that he has made equally long visits for more than a decade, but the price of this visit, in combination with the discussion in our group, gave her the motivation to work on restructuring their time together. So, in sum, there was a long-term pattern of passivity. Mary said that it was tempting to say to John, "Your visits are too costly, and I wish you weren't so terribly negative sometimes because it drags me down." But she dismissed this aggressive statement, saying that her goal was to find a new way to spend time with her friend that, quote, maintains the friendship and respects his needs and feelings, but which doesn't knock me around. So there was a pattern of passivity, a temptation to be aggressive, and a goal of wanting to be assertive. Although she was not initially clear about how to proceed, she knew that she wanted to find a way to explain to her friend that the visits were costing her too much. She also wanted to think about what alternative would work for her. She thought it would probably involve an earlier start, a shorter visit, and her taking 1 or 2 rest breaks during their time together. She asked for suggestions from the group and was particularly grateful for one of them. The suggestion was a good model of assertive communication. It stated Mary's views, it was factual and respectful of John, did not blame him for the relapse, and invited him to work with her to find a solution. Let me read this to you. John, your visits have been incredibly important to me, and your friendship is very special. I've been housebound for a long time, and a lot of people have drifted away, but you have remained a loyal and understanding friend, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. But right now I'm in a relapse, and I hate that I just can't handle a 5-hour visit, much as I would like to, and as much as I appreciate your coming. I've been reluctant to bring this up because I'm scared of hurting you or losing your friendship. Can we brainstorm together to come up with some ideas where we could each enjoy one another's company, but in a way that doesn't make me feel worse? Mary reported back to the group a week later in an email titled, "Assertiveness, I Did It." She said she had a discussion with John and began by telling him how much his friendship and loyalty meant to her and how much she had enjoyed their times together. She also said that the visits had been using up all her energy for that day, and also some of the energy required for the following 2 or 3 days, meaning that she began each week in an energy hole. She said she wanted to discuss how to change the visits so she could stay within her limits. Working together, they came up with a plan to break the visit into two parts, with a 1.5-hour break in the middle where John reads the Sunday paper and she retires for a rest. Also, she will take 2 15-minute breaks during his visits. Mary told the group that the experience had been life-changing. I am now fully set up for living within my limits and therefore improving my health, and I have experienced how gentle, caring, and cooperative assertiveness can be.